We're ready. Okay, notes 3-4% proportion. So there are two proportions at the top. We're going to fill in one little missing word. I don't know why it didn't print. It's sometimes special when I do it. But you're going to do part over whole, percent over 100, is over of, percent over 100. So both of them are something that you've seen before. Primarily what we're going to use today is the is over of, percent over 100. So we're going to take our wording and go through and break it down and make sure it fits into that proportion. So I know that you know how to cross multiply or butterfly and multiply and divide and do all that kind of stuff. So we're going to focus on setting it up on the notes part, but you're going to have to solve for it on the homework part. So look at example 1. I'm going to use part over whole, or it has part over whole, but I'm going to use is over of, percent over 100. So go ahead and fill that in. So every time we do a proportion on this kind of part, we always know it's going to be have the blank side and then have a blank on top, and it's always going to have 100 on the bottom right. Okay, now can you flip them? Some people flip them from side to side. That's okay, but I like to have it on that bottom right just for consistency. Okay, so what percent of, I'm going to talk about that. What percent of, okay, so let's go back for a second. So we're going to start of what percent. So what percent is our missing value? So it's going to be our X. Of 24 goes together. Okay. Of is going to go on our bottom side. So 24. And then is 18 goes together. Is 18. And it's going to go into the top. So what I want you to understand is we're going to solve for that X. We're going to solve and find that missing value. But I want you to understand the concept that, okay, half of 24 is 12. And so what we have are two proportions here, but it's saying 18 over 24. So this one is going to have, X is going to have to be more than half because it's more than 12 over there, right? 18 is more than 12, right? So we need to know that X needs to be bigger than 50 cents or 50%. We're setting these fractions technically equal to each other. So when I solve, I'm going to say 24 times X is 24X, and then 100 times 18 is 1800. Okay, it turned it into a one-step equation. So I would divide both sides by 24 because 24 and X are multiplying, and X is going to equal, well, I'm going to have to do some math here. 1800 divided by 24. Well, I know it's going to go in here 7 times. And I think that's 5 times. Oop, yep, evenly, awesome. So X is going to equal 75. So by what I said earlier, does that look logical? What's greater than 50%? We know it's closer to the middle, or between 50 and 100. So I feel like that's a good logical answer for X. Okay, let's look at number 2. Okay, what percent is what number is 60% of 150? Okay, so I'm gonna highlight this first part. What number is? That goes together. Then we have 60%. And then we have of 150. So if I break my formula down, is over of, percent over 100, I could fill in my numbers. So I'm going to set my equation over here. I'm going to put my 100 right there. Okay, so what number is? That means is my question mark. So it's going to be my X. 60% is going to go in my percent spot. Of 150 is going to go in my of spot. Okay, and then I have something set up, ready to go. Okay, we know that 60 is kind of bigger than 50, so we need to be more than half of 150. So let's solve it. We're going to say 100 times X is 100X. 60 times 150. We're going to need to do the math there because I don't know that in my head. And I got 9,000. Okay. So back to a one-step equation. Divide both sides by 100. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick here. Okay, remember when we have zeros on top and on bottom of the division, we can cancel those zeros because they match up. So technically x is going to equal 90, because 90 over 1 is going to be what? 90 divided by 1 is going to be 90. So anytime you need to stop and catch up, please stop and catch up on the video if you have questions. Okay? So looking at our exercises, we're going to do this here. Okay, so number 1, we're going to say, what number is 25% of 20? So of 20 goes together. 25% is always going to be its individual. And then what number is? Okay, so is our question mark. 25% of 20. That's what number 1 should look like. Number 2, what percent? That means that's our question mark. We don't know that, right? Okay, of 50. Of 50 go together. So that's going to be your bottom part. Is 30. Okay, so the part is 30. The whole is 50. And then percent we don't know. And so you can fill in all the numbers you know, and then whatever's left over is your x too. So 3. So 30 is, that kicks back. It's behind it this time. So we got to say 30 is. Okay, 75%. That's going to go here. We know this is 100. Of what number is our question mark? So that's going to be our x. Okay. Same thing on number 4, okay? We have 40%. That's clearly a percent. We're going to put it there. Of what number? Okay? That means of is our x because we don't know it. Is 36. So 36 is going to go on top. Okay? So number 5. So we have our proportion. What number is our x. 20% is our percent of 625. Okay, x over 625 equals 20 over 100. And then number 6, right here, where 12 is. Okay, what percent? That's our question mark. Of 30. So what percent's our x? Of 30 is on the bottom and 12 is on the top. Okay, so we just have to be really careful with this wording because it matters how it turns out. Now, it asks you to solve. I want to talk about this one. I'm going to talk about a couple in particular because I think that we need to understand the scaling up. So I didn't get to talk about that in the example. So I want you to look at number 1. So go back, scroll back up to number 1. Okay. So I didn't talk about scaling up a while ago, and I want to talk about or scaling down. This divides evenly, correct? 100 divided by what is 20? 100 divided by 5. So I can do the same thing through the top, and I don't even have to cross multiply and all that business. 25 divided by 5 is 5, right? So x is going to equal 5. Sweet. Okay? So I can scale up or down if it goes into 100 evenly or can divide into 100, whatever. There's another option right here, okay, on number 2. So make sure you have this written down. So I can scale from 50 to 100. What is it? Times what? So 30 times 2 is going to be, so x is going to equal 60. And I didn't have to work that hard for that. Does that make sense? So if I can see a division or a multiplication, a scale up or scale down, and easily transfer that, then I want to do it if I can, okay? Now on the others, they're not going to go evenly, so we're not going to try it. We would just cross multiply and get 75x equals 3,000. That's ugly 3. Sorry. Okay, and then divide both sides by 75, right? Okay, so that's how we would do the rest of it. Okay, so I'm not going to have you do these. But what I want you to do is on the back, we're going to end this video here, and I'll talk to them about what to do on the back.